of the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the best Star Trek show on the internet. My name is Graham Nolan. I'm your host, and this show goes over every Star Trek episode in the way they were filmed and not the way they were aired. So tonight, it is Captain's Log 2408.21. Tomorrow is Yesterday, written by D.C. Fontana and directed by Michael O'Herlihy. D.C. Fontana contributed her second script to the series following Charlie X. It was at this point she decided to follow her dreams to become a writer full-time and leave her comfortable position as Gene Roddenberry's secretary. Now, Roddenberry understood this because he left his position as a police officer for the LA Police Department to pursue his writing dreams. So he understood where Dorothy was coming from, but he really hated to lose a good secretary. Fontana's strip is the first in the series that could be considered semi-humorous, a style that differed from the more serious previous first season episodes and would become more prevalent in the second season, for good and for bad. And when we get to the second season, we'll, of course, be diving into some of those. The germ of the story comes from John D.F. Black's earlier entry, The Naked Time. At the end of that episode, the Enterprise develops an intermix formula to restart the engines, and it causes them to enter a time warp. And originally, they were going to make that a 2-part episode, but they scuttled the idea, and Tomorrow is Yesterday was going to be part 2. It would have been neat to see these two as back-to-back episodes, with more straight continuity, but it was not meant to be. This is one of those episodes that really benefited from the digital upgrade done a few years ago, because the shots of the Enterprise in the Earth's orbit were horrible. And the slingshot effect around the sun was non-existent, with just the shaking Enterprise in space was supposed to convey the drama. So there's a few episodes like that where the special effects really kind of destroy a great story. And it's a shame, but the good news is that we can watch these now with the digital, new digital effects have been added. The Doomsday Machine is one of them, and we'll get to in the second season. That is a complete upgrade. It's a completely different episode with the new special effects. Roger Perry is the main guest star in this episode. He bounced around various TV series during the 1960s, but he also appeared in a wonderful Robert Quarry 1970 vampire film called Count Yorga Vampire. It's an interesting film. It's the first modern day vampire, vampire that's in the modern day, which at that point was 1970. It was originally supposed to be a porn film, I think. And then the producers got a little nervous and switched it over to a rated R, straight up horror film. But anyway, it's a good one to check out. I've covered it in my 31 Days of Monsters before. So you can go to my YouTube channel and check that out there. So let's bring in the landing party. First off, we have Lost in the Time Loop Lopez or Lopresti.
Yeah, Count Yorga, porn movie. I didn't know that, but see, I learned something every episode on this. Every episode I learned something from you, Graham.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'll never watch that movie the same again.
Speaking of porn stars, let's bring in ours.
Oh, there we go. There he is. Man, the myth, the living legend.
I've done it. I have stumped Ron Garney.
I was gonna say yeah. Stop emailing me for tips, but you've been married long enough.
And let's bring in.
Yeah, what a great segue into the next person.
Well, we're going to bring in some class now because we're going to add that Star Trek girl Anna to
Hey.
class up this joint.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. All right.
How was everybody tonight?
I'm proud of myself. I watched the episode. I skipped it last week, the alternative factor, and because I couldn't stand the episode, but this one I actually watched again to make sure I was up to date on my comments. And,
There you go.
I'm missing the Count Yorga reference now. What was there?
Oh,
Somebody?
Roger Perry, the guy who plays Captain Christopher.
Yeah,
he was in the Count Yorga film.
He wasn't the vampire.
No. He was one of the vampire hunters.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've even seen that, if I even have, since the 70s. So
Yeah, and there was a sequel, Return of Count Yorga.
oh, and
Yeah,
you
so
said
there's
it was
two.
it was supposed to be a porno.
Well, originally, they were going to produce it as a porno film, and then they
Is it? I mean, is the actual film?
No, there's no. You wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doom chicka chong chicka
There's no bukkake.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh my goodness.
Well, not a lot.
Yeah, right.
a little bit, but not a lot. Just
Yeah, not a lot.
enough. Enough to get the message across.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This is a fun episode. I think. You get, like I said, you get the modern day version. You could watch it, because it opens up with the airplane, this guy scrambling and the airplane going up, and then you see the Enterprise in the atmosphere. And if you remember in the original one, it looks so bad. It's just
Yeah, it was like kind of bouncing around.
yeah, it looked like your Enterprise model on a string,
Yeah.
hanging from the ceiling, and the airplane coming up on it. Not good.
But even as a kid, I remember that scene and thinking, "Oh my gosh, how cool!" It was like you got to see the Enterprise, like in atmosphere. It was just really, I thought it was really cool as a kid. Then as an adult, you're
The
like,
base cells were bent, they're like hanging down somewhat. Like
What I thought was cool too in that moment was just how, relating to the, all the UFO sightings and things like that.
right.
How that would look like that to an Air Force pilot. The Enterprise would be just like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
right.
Because I mean, look at
Especially the size. I mean, it's supposed to be as big as a battleship or a aircraft carrier.
right.
Imagine an aircraft carrier in the air.
947 feet long, as I recall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerd.
No, it was the only thing that it bugged me, even as a kid, it bugged me was like the little the room with the radar in it. You're like, I don't know, maybe in the 60s they were kind of simple like that, but I don't think they were that simple,
No, they weren't.
I felt like I was watching like a B sci-fi movie from the 50s or something where they just, they would get like a soundstage room and put like a little console in there, and that was like the headquarters. So
Yeah. And it was like the radar guy was facing you, so you couldn't see the screen really.
right.
And all you saw was the desk of his, the commanding officer, whoever, so it's like two guys in a tiny little room, and one is filled with a desk and the other is some kind of, gobbledygook machinery, supposed to be a radar.
I know. It's like, man, I wouldn't depend on America. Very real high tech surveillance.
That's the extent of the technology.
I had that.
Yeah, those uniforms weren't strict Air Force uniforms. That was SAC, those Strategic Air Command
Right,
uniforms.
SAC.
Yeah. So, and you even had the SAC belt.
Billy used to wear one of those when he was in the service, I think.
Well, beret. Yeah, he wore a beret, but they were wearing specific Strategic Air Command uniforms, which they oversaw. The atomic bombs and long range bombing missions and all that kind of stuff. And you got one guy in a little radar booth. We're safe. I thought
Oh,
one of the weirdest things for me is when Captain Christopher beams up and William Shatner greets him, and it's so gay. How William Shatner is delivering his lines. He's so underplaying. He sounds gay.
Oh yeah, he's very pleasant, and he's like,
Yeah, he's too pleasant. He's like,
Yeah.
you know, welcome aboard, Captain. You know, you
yes,
know what I'm talking about? I mean,
yes, and
my goodness.
Captain Christopher is like really, not being very nice for a guy who just got beamed onto an alien ship. He's just
Right.
like in his face. I want to know what's going on, and Kirk's like,
Yeah.
just calm down, Count
yes,
Yorga.
we'll
Right?
let you know when we're good and ready. But
Yeah.
why don't we get you out of that and slip you into something more comfortable?
Man, I just never felt that watching. I never
Did you
felt
do
any
your
sense of
homework and watch it today?
gayness, and
Uh,
that caused me to need a drink.
yeah, well,
Well, I don't blame you. Hey, grab America by the. Oh, okay, this is
Russell Hall.
you know what this is.
Russell Hall.
For $10 in this episode, we learn that Kirk has a, shall we say, unconventional relationship with his command, but doesn't want to be tied down. Captain Kirk shoplifted the Pootie from the USS Enterprise.
Oh, Russell.
I don't know.
Well, you know what's funny that I never noticed before? I have the little clip shared down below if you want to watch it. Okay, so when they show all of them up on the Enterprise, they're all like knocked over because of the turbulence. Oh, so watch how Spock lifts Ahura up. Like, look, she's got her hand up. Instead of grabbing her hand, he pulls her up by the back.
Throws her over.
Funny,
What a
just
manhandles
more.
her to her chair, too.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, what the heck? Instead of like,
But see, that would make sense for Spock. He's not.
Yeah, he wouldn't be as sensitive to pick her
Yeah,
up
he's
by the
not gonna,
hand.
oh,
He'd just-
oh, let me take you by the hand. Are you okay? He's just
Well, that's
he
true.
just like grabs her and picks her up like a child. He's
I
like,
want to grab her right up by the chest.
Yeah.
And just,
Get back to work.
yeah, throws her in her chair.
Throws her right back in
over.
the chair.
no, I wouldn't.
I never noticed that before, but I thought that was funny.
That is.
I'm with Graham. I kind of like this episode. I think it's kind of fun. There's just enough with Captain Christopher's character that you're not quite sure. Like Spock said, I trust you, but only to a point.
That's a
And
great
you kinda
scene,
get that-
too.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling through that whole thing. I mean, the first time you watch, obviously we've all seen it 100 times at this point, but
Yeah.
the first time you watch it, you're kind of like, well, he should be on their side, but is he? And there was that little bit of element that was there the whole time that I thought was kind of interesting for that
I
character.
liked the reference to Christopher's son at the end, how he finds out that he's an important, he's a doctor or something. I can't remember.
A colonel for the Saturn project.
No,
Yeah,
his
he's
son
like
like
the-
heads
right,
the
right.
Saturn,
Some type of Saturn
exploration or
program
something.
or something, yeah.
And that was a reference, and they did that in the Twilight Zone again with Cliff Robertson, where he plays a guy leading a group from the Old West. They're in a covered wagon, and
I know that one.
his son is
Yeah.
sick, and so he goes with his
Goes
rifle.
over the hill and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're at a gas station.
Yeah, in the 60s
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
something. And
Yeah.
goes in there and he's like, but then he finds out, he looks at the book and finds out his son is going to be a doctor. He survives and he's going to, because he looks in this book and his son is in there.
Yeah.
I always like those little references because, I mean, man, how great would that be to know that your child made it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
safe, survives and is important. It would be such
Yeah,
a
it does something
wonderful-
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That's kind of the same thing, that Captain Christopher at the end, he's like, my son, though, whatever he said at the very end. So I always like that part.
Yeah,
I like
I
the
like the
work
part when
too
he
in this
finds out he's
episode.
going to have a son, where he's like, I don't have a son. And then they're like, not yet. And then he gets
Yeah.
all excited. He's like, oh, cool.
That
Yeah.
goofy little music that they play when
Such a great feeling, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the fight, it's like the first Kirk Fu, I guess after the
Kirk
after Arena. Yeah, where he's like he does that body block, and and I like how he reaches up and he grabs the door frame.
Yeah.
And he waits for the guy. And
They run right into it. Like
yeah. Like the guy doesn't just stop and go boom into his stomach or something.
I know.
Well, when they first try to grab Kirk, I was laughing because they both go up high like this when he's in the corner, and he just ducks right underneath them. You're like,
yeah.
I know. It's like watching Keystone Cops.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
I love those fight scenes in Star Trek and like Wild Wild West, those 60s,
I love the Wild Wild West.
those were
Yes,
great.
so
I love that show. That was a great show.
That was
Robert
like the
Conrad did
Western
all of those stunts.
Yeah, he did.
And Kirk did a lot, Shatner did a lot of
It was
these
very
things,
similar. I know. Yeah.
these were guys that like to do that shit,
Except when he fights Khan, then he's like, somebody else can do that.
Oh, I know.
I'm thinking about that now. Wild Wild West. That's sort of what they tried to do with Barbary Coast, right? Sort of recreate that sort of feel.
Yeah, it did have that kind of feel, but not as good.
Shatner was always in disguise, and so was Robert Conrad's partner there.
Ross Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross Martin. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Ross Martin, the actor. Yeah.
You know what I also like? Did you notice that when Captain Christopher, the first time he's trying to escape the Enterprise, the security guard comes around the corner and he beats the guy up and takes his phaser, but he uses the same karate chop move that Kirk and those guys use in the future. Boom! Right on and the guy's out. So there must be.
That was big in the 60s and in the 22nd century.
Yeah, exactly. It just
I know, and it sort of takes away the mystique of Spock's neck pinch because either one works just as effectively in that world, but it really doesn't. The karate chop to the neck doesn't work at all.
No, it might give the guy a Charlie horse in his traps.
It might hurt a little bit, but.
What do you think it would be like to wake up after the Vulcan neck pinch? Do you think like you'd have a headache or your shoulder would ache or something like that?
You'd have like one of those headaches that runs up like the.
I would think so.
No, you guys missed. You never heard Nimoy talk about that. He said the whole point of the neck pinch was that when he pinches it, it sends a nerve down to their groin and gives them such an orgasm they pass out.
No,
He didn't say that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? There is that scene in Star Trek: The Motion Picture where Kirk goes or Spock goes in there because he's going to steal that suit and go outside and check out V'ger. And there's that dude who looks like he's a 70s porn star. He's got the mustache.
Yeah.
And Spock gives him this thing. He turns around. It's like
his eyes roll back in his head. I know. He makes it. It's funny too. He so deliberately turns towards the camera because this is his moment.
Yes, this is his moment. He's going to get face shot.
Yeah, he's making sure that the camera sees him.
Yeah. And that mustache, man. Oh my God.
He's going to get a role.
I think that guy was in Count Yorga when there was supposed to be a porn, and they had to cut him loose when they changed their mind.
oh no.
Roger Perry said, "Hey, they're hiring for Star Trek. Up the road here. Why don't you go down there?"
Who was the vampire in Yorga?
Robert Quarry.
What else was he in?
He was in a TV show. He's an American actor. Was in. I'd have to look up and see what other movies he was in, but he was in a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Never a huge star, but
Hey, Anna, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
So sleepy.
Yeah, you sleepy?
I get no sleep. I have an Olympic gymnast in my stomach doing tricks at all times. So it's like, I tried getting through this episode. It took me like 6 times. I just kept falling asleep. But
oh no!
Let yourself go. Don't worry about that.
Well, no, I wanted to watch it because I don't really like this episode very much. So it's one of those. I like the one scene.
I'm going the opposite. I'm not watching any of them because I like listening to you guys and then riffing off that and then trying to remember it. It's fun for me that way.
I just want to sound smarter.
Huh?
I want to sound smarter because I know Graham's watching him, so I'm like, I've got to keep up. I'm
judging all of you.
Yeah, when he goes, remember that scene about a minute 30 into the episode where, and I can say, yeah, I just watched it last night. So make my way through
Well,
it.
I know Graham's not. It can't possibly be smarter than me, so I don't have to worry about it.
It just can't. It cannot be possible.
It's just
It's
not.
impossible.
Genetically impossible.
There's just no way. So
The guy's
I'm
an idiot.
rolling.
Oh man.
Everybody's smarter than me.
I really like that scene where the guy's interviewing Kirk and he's trying to get answers, and he says, "I'm gonna lock you up for 200 years."
Yeah, and he goes,
And then Kirk kind of like gives you one of those breaking the fourth wall moments and goes, "That ought to be just about right."
Yeah, that'll be just about right. Yeah.
That is such a great scene.
I love the humor that DC Fontana interjected into this, because it's not, other than the goofy fight scene, of course, but that was a really fun scene where the guy's trying to interrogate him, and I'm a little green man from Alpha Centauri. You should come see it sometime. It's wonderful, or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock you up, Kirk.
I like how Spock beams into the other room too, or something. What was that, like, bait and switch thing that happened where
Captain
He
Christopher.
disappeared.
he's like, "Come out of there, come out of there," and then he comes up from behind and like pinches him, right?
But that's it. I never thought he beamed out then beamed back in, but maybe he did. I always thought
They beamed out
walking away.
Sulu, and then Spock was behind him, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Spock just disappeared. You'd see him walking away in the background, and he walked into the other room and came up behind him.
Oh, I always thought he went into the other room and they beamed him in the back. I don't remember. It would have been better if
There's no budget for that.
Huh?
There's no budget for that. He walked.
but seriously,
not to even imply it. There's just no budget for it.
when I saw that scene last night, that was the first thing I thought. I go, how did Spock know there was an exit door, through there and back out into the hall?
Because the guy drew him a sketch of the facility, remember?
Well,
That's true. Captain Christopher drew the sketch of the area, and Spock remembered.
Okay. It just seemed odd that you'd go back that way and somehow that would circle around and get you back into the hall. And when Ron said maybe they beamed him out, I thought that would have worked, actually. They
that's what
beamed him out and then beamed him back behind.
I don't recall him walking behind Sulu or anything. So for some reason, I always thought they just, because that would make sense. Spock come out of there, like, where did he go? They didn't have knowledge of beaming, obviously. So it would have made sense that, Spock just had him beam into the other spot. That would have been good had they done that.
Well, and like you said, they could argue that they did do that. They just didn't show it. It was all off camera.
Well,
right?
they just said it didn't happen.
Well, they're arguing that it didn't happen, but they don't know for sure that it didn't happen.
Do you know for sure, you two?
I'm pretty sure when I watched it that you saw.
Well, that's not good enough.
I'm sorry. Did you
want 100% sure?
No, we're
pretty
talking
sure is not good enough.
Okay, we're talking about the scene where he comes down with Captain Christopher and Sulu, right?
Spock. Right.
And then he goes in that other room. He goes around the door in the other room, but the hallways behind him, they're in that room, and then he goes into a room that's even farther away from the hallway, and then you see him go around the door, and that's the last you see him until he comes up behind Captain Christopher from the hallway.
I think that's honestly, I think they beamed him into the, out of there into the hall.
Into the hallway, which I'd never thought of, but that would make sense.
He walked through the trap door in the.
Let's pull it up.
Studios.
Let's pull it up. Pull
he
it
came
up.
out on the other
Pull it
side
up.
of Desilu, and then
Desilu.
opened up a cardboard door and went. Bing.
Look at now. Hang on a second. We know. This is going to turn into something here.
Come on,
We
Anna,
know
pull it up.
that the interrogation room. We knew the
Yeah,
size of the
yeah.
interrogation room, right? Because we saw it. So there was that room back behind that where the general or whoever, that colonel, whatever, was in. And it doesn't make sense that he would have a door that exited to the hallway. It would only exit back into the room. So it makes sense that Spock beamed himself out and back into the hallway behind him. I'm just saying.
I have the scene.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's watch.
Okay, here's the guys. Let's see, I'm not gonna play any volume because I don't want You to get flagged. So they're in this room. Kirk's in the other room.
Okay, so they're walking down the hall.
Like he's got.
Oh, there's
Karate
the old
chop.
karate chop. Yep.
That's 2 karate chops.
Okay. They're in there with
They're in
Kirk.
the room, right?
Shatner's always playing with his upper lip.
Yeah. Oh, alien. Okay. See. All right.
Okay, now. All right.
Kirk kicked
And
him, punched
now he
him.
goes into the other room here, right?
Okay. So that's his office.
All right. Now Spock is in the office. Or yeah, okay.
So he's dragging him in from the hall.
Now Christopher grabs a gun here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Spock.
Goes
Where's
into the
Spock
other
going?
room.
Spock goes into his
He
office.
disappears
Into
Right.
the office.
into Colonel Fellini's office because
Right.
there's probably an exit.
Well,
to
you're
his office
maybe
from
there is, but it doesn't really make sense there would be. Oh, commercial break. So we're on the edge of our seat. We come back and don't be a fool. Say it, Kirk. Yeah, there it is.
You gotta
See-
talk. I don't want you to get flagged.
All right, so look at it this way: the Colonel has an office that's adjacent to.
Oh, the door's open
Right
now.
here, right here. The door's open.
Yeah.
Come out of there. He says, Spock, come out of there. And he goes, Spock again.
Sulu says, "Why don't I ever have any lines?"
All right.
I turn on the. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no way. He got beamed out of there.
No,
would
he
just-
walked through the Colonel's office out to the
How do you
hallway
know
around.
that? You don't know.
You don't know. He's coming in from the hallway
It
right
would
there.
make no sense to have another door on the Colonel's in his
It
office.
wouldn't
like
make
that.
sense for the Colonel to be landlocked by an interrogation room that nobody else could get to his office without going through an interrogation room. He
Okay,
would have
now
had
that's a
to
good
have been
point.
able
All
to.
right, I'll back off.
come
That's a
in.
good point. That's an excellent point. Okay.
Maybe
No,
we could see
I
in the
disagree.
hallway.
He beamed out. I'm sticking to it.
All right.
Oh wait, no. Let's look at this hallway. So
Yeah,
There's
where's the door that he came out of?
okay, so
So there's one door.
okay, a little bit.
Okay,
too far
Maybe
back.
there's a window, but if there was a window, they
You know,
would
look.
This
Whoa,
is the
there's
door
a
to
door
the
right there.
Interrogation, right?
That's the interrogation room. Oh, maybe
Right.
it's this one.
Yeah, it could be this one.
He came from the other side, though. He came from the right side.
Okay.
Well,
Let's
Let's
see.
see,
Here it
what's on
goes.
this
Here
wall?
goes.
That wall is just this bookshelf thing, and then maybe there's a door right over here that Spock could have come out of.
yeah, why is there a bookshelf there in the middle of this hallway?
Well, you might. No, that's a trophy case. It's a trophy case.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
it was
you're right.
just-
You're right.
He beamed out of there.
Yeah, there's no door.
Well, maybe
He
this
beamed out. He had
entire
to
room
beam
is
out.
off.
But
Yeah.
it makes sense that they beamed out. That's what was cool about it. It was like,
No,
oh, that
but
was a smart
that
move.
would take too long. He'd have to call up. He'd have to get beamed out.
He did not. He's not going to get put on hold, man. It's a freaking.
Well, look at you. Wait a minute. There's plenty of time, Graham, because you had all that dialogue. Plus, you had the commercial break. So there
All
was.
right, you know what?
plenty of time.
Let's bring it to a vote in the comments section. What does everybody think?
Yeah,
We'll
put a
vote.
poll up,
Yeah.
Graham.
Okay. All right.
So far, I see. Well, I see someone says I agree with Aaron and Ron.
Is there another door? Did he get beamed?
Someone says, "I'm going to go."
Hey,
with the
one
doesn't
one
matter."
person says he beamed out. Spock had him beamed back to his former coordinates, which was the hall. Second door. He was beamed out.
Mhm.
He dug a tunnel. Didn't you see him walk in with a shovel?
Did he have a spoon in his hand? How did
He was like
he?
the Looney Tunes or something.
Well, it's pretty even. Got a lot of people saying second door theory, the beamed out theory.
Or dug a tunnel. Twin.
Okay. So we'll say.
All right, they're gonna just joke around, so I'm sticking to my
no.
theory.
I would. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the shooting script for this episode and see what it says.
I guess we're never gonna know, are we?
That shooting script's got to be published someplace. Come on, Graham. Where can we get a copy of the shooting script for this?
All right. Here's the poll: beamed out or walked out?
You guys are biased because for whatever reason who we're voting for.
That makes sense.
He was beamed out. He's a clone. That's a good one.
Oh,
ask.
Now, we're doing real world things here. The real question is, why do the photon torpedoes come out of different places in different places on this ship? We're trying to apply real world logic here.
Oh,
There's got to be an entrance into the colonel's office that does not go through the waterboarding.
But here's the thing, though. Why are you? I always hate asking why because I know it makes people's impulses start going like this. But why are you so opposed to it having them beam him out when it's a perfectly viable solution to that problem? And that's what they might think to do. You are very, very adamant about there being a door, like you almost are against the idea of them using a beam out.
Because they specifically chose to show you Spock walking away into the dark room away from it.
So
there's
what does
no
that have to do with a beam out theory? He's not going to beam out right in front of the guy.
Okay. Why doesn't he just take his phaser out and stun him?
What do you mean?
Instead of walking away and come up behind him.
He just neck pinched him. He didn't want to stun
You're
him.
so entrenched on neck pinching, and you're unwilling.
Yeah, you know what? You're just mad because I didn't answer your emails about how to be a better porn star. Graham, go like this.
Oh my God.
oh goodness.
That's so funny.
Anna's head just goes right down.
See, Steven's got a good point, and I happen to agree with this too. He said he expected the betrayal, so he could have prepared a double beam.
He could have, yeah. I mean, both things are possible.
Oh, well, at least that's all we want. At least that's all I want, Graham. At least an acknowledgement that it could be the answer.
Yeah.
It's a cooler answer, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I'm just sticking with that because that's what I always thought it was, that he got beamed into beamed out of there.
All right. Well, right now, beamed out has got the lead with 62%.
Yeah.
And walked out is at 40%.
Mm.
But the strange thing for me is it never occurred to me that he beamed in or out, but it always bugged me that how did he get out in the hall? And it never occurred to me to think that he could have been beamed out. And now that Ron brought it up, I'm on board with it. I like it.
Like I said, I'm smarter.
Yeah, you are. You don't even have to watch the episode.
Joking. Totally kidding.
You can instantly knock someone out by interrupting flow to the brachial artery. Some friends and I used to play around with the technique.
You were knocking each other out.
I want to know how they got in and out of rooms. That's more important to me right now.
It could be like McCoy when he tells Khan to just sever the carotid artery just under the left ear.
Yeah.
Well, you can put people unconscious with rear naked chokes by cutting off the blood supply to the brain. So I don't know, though, that a karate chop.
I would think it would have because if you're not expecting it, like there where they get Sulu sneaks up behind the guy and all of a sudden whack, you get this stunning effect onto you. That was
now. If there was anything gay about any of that, it was Sulu's karate chop.
Well, we know that. Yeah,
That's a given.
Did you see the heels he was wearing?
Oh, yeah.
Walk a mile in her shoes.
Yeah. I wonder what John Wayne thought of him.
Oh, that's right. He was in the Green Beret with him.
Green Berets, yeah.
That was Sulu's big break, except it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's weird. Look at Sulu. Look at Sulu right there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you wonder if at that time George Takei was looking at Captain Christopher at all, thinking, "Man, he's hot." You know, because he had to think that about some of the castmates at some point.
Sure, yeah.
He was checking out their ass and everything.
Right.
Maybe that's why he hates Shatner, because he never gave in to him.
That could be.
Give into the temptation.
Yeah, he was
You
getting
know what?
all
You know
the
what bugged me about Sulu was that one strand of hair hanging down on his forehead. It was like, get that combed up there and hairspray it or something, will you? Drove me nuts. Oh,
Oh my! He was in a
oh
Twilight Zone
my.
episode too, where he played a
Yeah, the band episode.
yeah.
Oh, he's also in that one with where he's up
He's
in
in
the
the
attic
house.
with the racist guy.
Yeah, in the house.
That was the band episode.
Yeah, that was a
That was
good
the
one.
band episode.
Yeah, because it
Okay.
like deals with Japan in
It was
World
that
War
same
II.
guy from Lost in Space too, whatever his name was.
What's that guy's name?
I can't think of his name either.
Well,
The
we all
dad
have
from Lost in
Brandon. Something with a B. Really beat up face.
really
Yeah, I remember his face. I just can't think of
it. Kind of looked like Meatloaf. You know the guy I'm
He was
talking
in
about?
a bunch of different things back then.
Oh yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
let me pull it up.
Those characters were flying around all the TV shows with character actors back then.
Like they do now. I mean, they rehire lots of the same actors.
I don't watch TV that much, so I don't.
Yeah,
But I
and they all
remember-
look the same now. Everybody looks like the model that came off of a
Yeah.
runway.
Right. Well, the lower tier shows, yeah, they're all
There's nobody that has
know.
Any great character to their face.
could
Thank
be a
you.
show about the FBI, and they all look like they're straight off a runway or something.
Yeah, and they've all been dressed like
And they're like the best at what they do, and they're all like 23 years old.
Yeah.
Exactly. All that
There's
experience.
the guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. We know the guy, but we need the actor's name.
Lewis.
Nope.
No.
Can you make it bigger?
Neville Brand. That's it. Neville Brand.
Neville Brand. That's a good name.
Oh, you had the B right.
Neville Brand.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, because I said Brandon or Brand. Yeah. Neville was the one I couldn't come up with. Yeah, look at that face. That's a mug.
Mhm.
A character right there.
Pugilistic mug. Looks
Yeah,
like-
that's a face that's been hit.
He'd play a great Ben Grimm.
He would.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
would have been a perfect Ben Grimm.
They wouldn't really need CGI, just some makeup on him, huh?
And now
Yeah.
they got some kid who's going to play him who looks. I just don't even get.
I started watching that previous Fantastic Four movie, the one where Johnny Storm's black, and
Oh God.
Oh, that's so bad.
I think I got a half hour into it and I had to turn it off.
It's one of the
such-
worst movies ever.
It
So-
was horrible. I mean, take away the fact that it's not even a Fantastic Four movie. It's just a shitty movie.
it's fun and it's true. Like I remember seeing that it was on, and I remember hearing that it sucked really bad, but I didn't care because I just wanted to see the FF and I wanted to see the thing, and I thought maybe the effects would be good, and I could get by with that, but I couldn't. It was just so bad, no matter, and every which way, it was just terrible.
Ben Grimm was this little guy.
Yeah.
Johnny Storm's black.
I can't look,
Sue
man.
Storm is white.
Ben Grimm is supposed to be a rough, tumble guy, man's type, not some kid straight out of college.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just don't get
He had
this.
that broken nose, like
these
that's
these
the face that got you too.
casting people are the worst in Hollywood.
Yeah, they really are.
Like that guy Pasquale or whatever playing Reed Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
He's awful.
Yeah.
Why?
And he
It's just-
won't even shave his mustache.
But that it points to what we were just saying, how they use the same actors over and over
Yes.
Yeah.
because he's a little bit hot right now.
Right.
Because of
A
that.
little bit. Oh my God. If you criticize him, you'll have people screaming at you for
That's
a week.
because he did the gay thing in that show.
Oh, The Last of Us?
Yeah, it was like, didn't he do that or something?
No, the guy from Parks and Rec was the gay character, which was like you had to do a bunch of special like behind the scenes stuff to get that story unlocked in the video game. Like it's like in a little journal piece to find out that character was gay, but Pedro wasn't. But they're trying to allege that he is.
Yeah,
But his
I've
whole
heard
thing is
that
he has like
too.
a trans sister.
Yeah.
You mean the
See,
character
You gotta go
or-
down that road.
No, Pedro Pascal in real life, his sister is trans.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Supposedly.
explains a lot.
Of course
Maybe.
he is.
And then he checks all the boxes. So if you
Yeah.
criticize him in any way, people will go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So
Meanwhile, they're trying to portray him. They show him on stage, and they say, he's got anxiety, and when he gets nervous, he has to touch people. It's like,
Oh,
they showed that with the girl
grow up, dude.
that girl who
oh,
was playing
just careful, Graham. You'll
Sue
have them
Rich.
coming after you like they
The
did
girl
with
who's
me.
playing the invisible girl is like they showed them together on at an event, and he kept touching her and she ended up leaning around and holding his hand.
Yeah.
And that's what they were saying, is that he suffers from anxiety, and she's just
Oh my gosh. Here,
You're an actor, dude.
Really?
You're an
You're
actor.
an actor.
Pretend you're comfortable on stage.
Yeah, pretend you don't have anxiety.
Yeah.
well, it's funny how he didn't have anxiety doing any other press tour for any of the other shows or movies he was in.
Right.
You know?
He didn't have any anxiety when he was trying to cancel Gina Carino.
Toronto. Yeah, I know.
Gina Carina.
I said Carino.
It's just a vowel, they don't matter.
I like that though, Gina Carina. It sounds like a 60s TV cartoon or something.
Well,
Wow.
are you guys bringing this up because of this? Because I tweeted that. I told him to grow up and stop being a toddler. Almost 30 million views. Just my entire timeline has been crazy because of this tweet that went viral, and I got all these people yelling at me.
Oh, so that's what we were talking. I was just talking about. Yeah. That's
Well,
I didn't even see it. You got 20 million views on that comment.
Yes.
Wow, Hannah,
What
just stirring it up.
hell?
Oh no, there's like people making videos about me. They're screaming. There's a bunch of people telling me to kill myself, and then they're using the whole oh, he has anxiety, so that equals consent. And I'm like, you guys should have been Harvey Weinstein's lawyers, right? But they're super mad. But no, I thought that's why you guys were bringing this up.
Look
So,
at
like,
Anna poking the bee's nest.
Dude, I made this. I just woke up. I was in bed in my pajamas. I was just scrolling on Twitter. I made this comment. I got up. I took a shower, and this was like 13,000 likes. And I was like, "What the?" It's always the one.
Well, the funny thing is he's probably seen this by now. Scroll down. Let me see some of the responses.
Probably going to be some good ones.
I'm sure that's comforting for.
Wait, go back. I want to say that one guy who says, I've got massive anxiety and depression. Consensual physical touch helps relax the mind, especially when it's with someone you know and love. Well, okay, that may be, but when you're an actor and you're out in public and, you gotta fake it till you make it, or you gotta maybe pick a different.
I think people are making way too much.
No, you know what it is? It's all of these adults.
They're you know what?
Children.
They're welcome to touch each other all they want. I mean, it's not, this idea that he's not allowed to touch her because of this. That's ridiculous. People touch each other all the time. That's just human nature.
Sure, he works with her. They have a relationship of some type.
Well, see, they took it as they saw this and they thought it was about themselves, and so they made it like, oh, you're attacking mental health. I'm like, I never said anything about mental health. I said he specifically needs to control himself in this situation, which is funny because.
So you wrote the only entitled brat I see is the person who thinks just because they have X. What is X? X means they
anxiety.
Anxiety means they're allowed to do and touch whomever they want. That's who. So who feels entitled to touch who there?
No, this person's saying that I'm an entitled brat for telling Pedro Pascal to grow up. Like, you're a full-grown man, control yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something an entitled.
He's behaving like a little kid there. He's like.
He is. Well, so
well, it would have been great if he just reached down and grabbed her right in the crotch or something.
Also, I did like a slow-mo of this, but it's like, let me mute this.
Who's the woman?
She doesn't seem uncomfortable with it.
I disagree. She grabs him and makes him stop, and then
she's the one who should say something, because we don't know her thoughts or.
Well, then I don't. She would get canceled if she went against Pedro. Nobody can go against Pedro. He's their golden boy. No, you can't.
See, to me, it's like if somebody came up and they are familiar with each other that way, and he touches her arm, and she just, oh, hey, and she just reaches out. It's almost a show of affection to hold his hand. If she
I don't
didn't
know.
want to,
I
I
don't know.
agree with Star Trek girl on this one. That looked to me like she wanted his hand off of her, but she was on stage with the guy and didn't want to do anything
He's
embarrass
like
him.
Yeah.
he's like rubbing her
so that
arm.
was her. What you're saying, that was her nice way of removing his hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, because he strokes it up and down,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he like turns, he grabs his hand to make
He's
him
like,
stop, and he like looks away from him.
Count,
if you
he was
slow
exactly
motion it,
like-
if you slow motion it,
Well, think
this
about
is
it.
what he
He's
was
on
doing.
stage.
He-
You've all been to Comic Con. They're on stage in front of thousands of people, and the dude just starts stroking her arm, and they want to blame it on anxiety. I'm like, I've been around plenty of people with anxiety, and they never just randomly started touching me.
yeah.
How do
I think
you
he was
go
a
on
little bit like
stage?
Count Yorga there.
How do you go on stage? This is your job, is to go
I
on
know.
stage. Whether it be in front of thousands of
Well,
people, at
I will
Comic-Con
say,
or on a movie set or whatever, but that's your job. So you obviously can overcome it then.
but here's the thing, guys. The one thing you're missing, I think, in my opinion, is that they're doing a movie together where they are husband and wife,
Are they husband and wife yet in the movie?
but they're still in a relationship, and they probably have to act and show affection to each other on camera. So I just don't think that it's not
Yeah,
out of
then
the
Keanu
realm of
said-
possibility that maybe they're just familiar with each other that way at this point.
I
I'm
don't
not
think we're
saying you're
arguing that
listen.
they're familiar.
Believe me, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm really not. You might be right. But to me, the thing that looks awkward to me is just him standing there with his arms like this and going,
Mhm.
like I'm so awkward, and then she kind of reaches around, takes him by the hand.
It's not so much the action, so much as the reaction. It's what they're presenting, the saying that, it's not just the picture, it's what the picture says. It says that he has anxiety and he has to touch people. So they're making an excuse for him to behave this way.
But it's not. Well, I just don't see what he just touched her on the arm. It's not
Yeah,
like
it could be innocuous, maybe not, but
yeah.
they're
I
the ones that
think
are
she
bringing
needs.
it in.
Only she knows for sure, and he knows. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, we'll find out
Much
in a
ado
few
about
years.
nothing, in my opinion. To be honest with you.
See, that was my thought. I thought what I said was a big nothing, but people, they lose their
Yes,
minds.
but Anna, you are Star Wars girl.
I know, I'm the embodiment of evil, according to Twitter.
The embodiment of evil.
I put one time on Twitter, I was paying bills, and which I hate doing, that's like, because it's just like time consuming, and it's like all you're doing is sending your money out the door, and it's taking you an hour and a half. So I put on Twitter one time, I said, is there anything worse than paying bills?
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. I'm handicapped and you don't know what bad is. And I'm like, it was a freaking.
Yeah, this is why I don't post shit
me?
at all, because I don't have the temperament, really, the patience with stupidity on the internet. So I just avoid it. Because I in the past, years and years ago, I would get into it with people, and what was more crazy to me was just how stupid people can be.
Yeah.
They're just stupid. Like the things they say and the way they view things. It's not worth getting into, and you're not going to change anybody's mind. And, whatever. So I
You
just
would hate my timeline.
I got to go look at it. I always think that too. I never go to it. I have to go look at it.
Oh, it's hell. Good luck.
Well, good on you for
monetize that.
Yeah, I get paid from Twitter. Well, for 27 million views, I better get some money.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this is great. Monetize.
You get paid to have people tell you you're a piece of crap.
Keep telling me.
Well, now they're following me over to my Instagram, and
Does
they're
your
like,
husband get to protective of you, or he wants to go on there and tell him to shut the hell up?
no, he sees me sitting there laughing, and he's like, "Are you fighting on Twitter?" And I said, "Yeah, look at what this retard said." So he just laughed.
That's exactly what Shelley does.
That's good that you just laugh at it, because that's what you have to do. You want to know why? Because if you once it stops, it goes away, and it's like they're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's 27 million, though. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
That's pretty
over
impressive.
Over a nothing tweet. I'm just
put something really controversial up, man. It's really
Well, you know what it is? It's the way you frame it, the way it seems like you're talking directly to him, right? How did you word it again?
I said, I'm sorry, this is BS. You're a full-grown man, not a toddler. Control yourself.
Right. So it's like you're talking to him in a way. It's like, so it's, I wonder if you had, I'm not saying you're wrong for writing it. I think it's perfectly fine. I'm just thinking, is if you had said, this is total bullshit, he's a grown man, I don't know. Yeah.
Rather
They
than
would
talk
still
direct-
lose
It
their
doesn't
mind.
matter either way.
Yeah.
You can't criticize
Nuts are nuts.
Pedro. Yeah. It's like you can't criticize him. You can't criticize Taylor Swift. You can't criticize Lizzo. Like, I got my blue
But you
check mark
can, but you
because I
can.
criticize
That's the thing. I'll guarantee you there were people who agreed with you.
Oh, there was tons. I mean, that
Right.
tweet has
So
over 114,000 likes.
this is the mistake we make is when you say we're not allowed. Yes, we are. They don't get to make the rules of who gets to say what. We have to stop this mentality that they make these rules and that we get canceled if we say, because they will do this to you. You can't, we have to stop, people have to stop giving them this power and just tell them to shove it right up their ass.
That's exactly what I do.
Good.
That's why
That's
people like
how you
what
handle
we
it.
do.
Tell them to shove it right up your effing ass.
That's what I do,
Because
and that's
they
why
don't
I'm
have
the embodiment of
power over
evil.
anyone, and they're the problem with some of these people is they've become marinated in this idea that they're so important because they think they can pull this crap on people and chastise everyone from some moral high ground. They don't get to do any of that. They're not in charge. They're like everyone else. They're entitled to their opinion. They can yell at you all they want, but they're not in charge of you or
That's
anyone
where
else.
cancel culture comes from, because they don't like what you said, so then they attack you, they dox you, they find out where you work, they contact your employer, they tell you this, that, it's a slippery.
Too many people are scared of it. Then you turn around and you assume like Gina Carano did.
Hey, but you know who is in charge? James T. Kirk's in charge.
That's right.
Yeah, let's bring it back to Star Trek again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're coming down to the wind up here, so we got to get our votes in.
Yeah.
So we always diverge a little bit, and that's what makes it fun.
I'm going to go. Okay, wait a minute. So we've established that 5 is like an average episode, right? 5 would be average.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like this episode. I don't love it, but I think it's kind of fun. I'm going to go using Anna's grading system. I'm going to go 6.72.
I've never done that.
There's no twos.
Hey, you did.
I just can't
9.2.
deal with the decimal and where that comes in and how,
You can go a half. You can go 6.5, or you can go 7.
Yeah, at least keep it in some. Well, I mean, because then you really have to get into the.
I'll go 6.5 on this. I do like it, but it's not one that I rush to see.
Right.
But I'll watch it when it's on because I kind of enjoy it.
Because the 0.2 comes in where you didn't like the desk in the office.
Okay.
You know what I
Didn't
mean?
like the beaming,
Well,
not beaming thing.
I wonder maybe it'd be a 7 if we could come to some sort of uniform conclusion about how Spock got out of that room. But
That's right. If he walks out, it's a 7. If he beams out, it's a 6.5.
Well, look at Greg. Look at Greg. What? You look very gay there, Greg.
It's a 7.
If he beams out, it's a 7.
I'm going to go 6.5.
Welcome aboard the Enterprise, Ron. We'll let you know when you need to know.
Okay, Captain Dunsel.
Watch that episode again, folks, and tell me I'm wrong.
Oh my gosh.
We just watched it.
You didn't.
Oh, well, we watched that.
I remember there was some kind of layout.
No, I'm talking about the gay part.
Oh, look, Gina Carano was a girl, a porn star, as somebody just said. I never knew that.
No, was she?
Says Gina Carano was an 80s porn star.
Well, maybe that name was the name of a porn star, not Gina Carano.
Not the real Gina Carano.
Right,
No,
right.
no, she wouldn't be old enough. She's young compared
Yeah.
to. She'd only be a kid. She's probably born in 1980 or something.
How old is she? She's got to be like in her late 40s.
Gina?
Now, right?
Yeah, so she would probably have been a little child in the early 80s.
Wait, Gina Carano or this new porn star?
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano is 40.
Oh, she's only 40?
Yeah.
Oh.
So she was
Yeah,
born.
so
in
she
the
was
80s.
born in like 1984.
Or
So she's like Anna's age.
What?
no.
Ah, ah. So Anna,
Hey, we consider that
So-
young.
I
when
think
you were
it should
right.
team
sitting
Bean
on
out.
the couch
Oh,
with
to
that
be 40
kid,
again.
Oh my god.
I still had hair when I was 40.
My
did that
brother's
kid
in his
have big
40s.
hands or small hands? That
Oh my god.
No, we're back to that one.
Oh no.
You know, Ron, if I would have paid more attention, I would have seen the warning signs.
What's your vote here, Ron? What's your rating?
Well, you know, sometimes I make my ratings based on moments rather than technical issues because I think the moments are more important. So I like the moment of his son, talking about his son, and I like the moment of him seeing this ship that was just looked like some strange object, UFO object. So I like those ideas. The ideas are more important to me. So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Oh, a whole point higher than me. I feel.
Oh, that's pretty strong. Okay.
I know. Maybe I should rethink my grading.
And
And I also like the idea of him beaming out of that room.
So do I.
you just
I'm
gave
gonna
me
be
an
the
extra point
opposite.
to mess me up.
Oh
Okay,
my
Anna.
I'm the opposite. This episode puts me to sleep. It's not like the alternative factor where it's just like this is shit. It's just
Yeah, at least this has a story.
I could see that. I just, like I said, I get it. Just moment.
I do like the part about the sun. That is like the best part of the episode. So because of that, it gets a 4.5. But
Wow, that's really low. Oh my!
I know. I just don't
a
care
low
for it.
average.
You're getting into Spock's brain territory here. How do you compare the two?
Hey, Spock's brain to me is more entertaining than this episode. Spock's brain's going to get a higher rating.
What about
Ooh,
the children shall lead? Oh,
God.
I don't know.
That's going to be lower. But no, it's
Yeah.
just I just think that this
not
one's
sure the needle's going to
boring.
rise on that one at all.
I don't really care for this episode.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So Aaron, you're a 7,
No, 6.5.
6.5. Ron, you're a 7.5.
Yep.
Anna, you're a 4
4.
something.
4 or 5.
4.5. I'm going to go with Aaron on this. I'm going to say 6.5.
Is there? Let me ask you this for you guys. We don't have to say which ones, but are there any episodes for any of you that are a 10?
Yeah.
I've already given a 10.
On what?
2 of them actually on a Corbomite maneuver and Balance of Terror.
You gave those a 10? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I gave them, or was I not on those episodes?
You were there.
Well, you were definitely there for Balance or
Yeah, you didn't like. You had
Corbomite
some
maneuver.
criticism of Balance of Terror.
I did?
Yeah, you thought the Romulan guy was a little too soft.
Mark Leonard?
Romulan commander.
Mark Leonard? I thought he was
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah. As a
No,
commander.
I don't know. I mean, I think he was definitely. It was time for him to retire for sure.
See, and one of my favorite episode is one with Mark Leonard. It's the Journey to Babel. That's my favorite episode.
That's one of my favorites too, but it's not a 10.
Yeah, I like when the guy attacks him and he just goes like this. The guy it falls back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The big guy. Yeah. It's like, well, you know, those big guys, they're not very strong. They're heavy, out of shape.
Like those Vulcans know all kinds of weird martial arts and kempo and kung fu.
Yeah, but there's also Kirk Fu.
I love how you have that one queued up right on
I know,
the chair.
The old
Yeah,
butt
right.
flop, man.
Yeah, why don't you invest and get a real captain's chair from the Enterprise to sit in there?
I should.
You should.
Then I could read a very expensive Star Trek comic, Aaron, like I did with my Fantastic Four chair.
Dude, I don't even bring that up because I'm going to start. I need to touch somebody right now. I have so much anxiety based on seeing that picture.
What happened?
Hey, Aaron, come on. Aaron, touch me. Wait, Aaron.
Yes, stroke
Aaron,
his arm.
touch me.
Oh God!
Come on, Aaron. You know you want it. You know you want it. Come on.
All right. I'm starting to believe Graham about
Come
the porn
on.
star thing.
Come on.
Oh my gosh, here we
Come
go.
on, Aaron.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Only fans. Only fans.
Only
Oh my
fans of
gosh.
Ron
Only
Barney.
Star
My
Trek
goodness.
fans.
Only Star Trek fans.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember what we were talking about now.
We're talking about the picture I took. I got
Oh.
this custom made Fantastic Four thing chair that I bought, and it's orange and it has the rocks on it and stuff. It looks just like the thing. And I was sitting in it reading Fantastic Four #1,
Like the
and
actual copy.
the
of
actual
Fantastic-
Fantastic Four #1, which I own,
Sitting in.
in the thing chair. Follow along.
Mm.
Fantastic Four, the thing. I'm in the thing chair reading Fantastic Four
What
#1.
thing chair?
He has a thing chair.
I've got a thing chair. Here, I'll show
I
it
have
to you.
no knowledge of a thing chair that
And
you own.
You don't
reading
read
the
in the
book.
Don't look at me like I'm the crazy
You're
one.
reading
You're
the
the crazy one
I have
because you
no
don't have
idea about this thing chair.
Well,
he explained
okay, but the
it.
important part of the story,
He's
Ron,
like,
is he's
follow
reading.
along like I'm supposed to know about your.
No, the important thing about the story is he's reading a $20,000 copy of Fantastic Four just like this, and it just
Okay.
drives me nuts.
But is it in perfect condition?
No, it's in.
Well, then it's not worth that.
It is too, and the condition he's got it, and it's worth 20 grand.
It
And
is,
he's sitting there
really?
reading it.
How much did you spend on it, Graham?
on
Yeah,
the Fantastic Four comic. I spent $700.
And it's worth 20 grand. Wow, that's
I bought it back in the '90s, so
Oh.
And how did it go up so much?
it just
Inflation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did you buy it in the 90s or the 80s?
'90s.
There's
Yeah. Oh, it might have been late '80s.
yeah.
Now,
'Cause
is this chair actually comfortable?
Oh, that's cool.
It is not very comfortable.
It's the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life, but
Right?
it's cool.
And yet,
It is very cool. I had to have
look,
it.
look, Graham is like trying to make up to me now by putting his Fantastic Four 1 in a Mylar while it's sitting there by itself.
That's like an Andy Warhol kind of thing or something. It's just,
Warhol.
Uh-oh, here we go again with the references.
There we go.
Oh.
Gina Carina.
Coming up
Andy
your old
Warhol.
Warhol.
Holy crap.
So those
yeah.
are what issues are those?
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, he probably got about 80 grand worth
The
of books.
first one is with the Mole Man or something.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second one's the Skrulls. Third one is their uniforms. And the fourth one's the Return of the Submariner.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this guy had posted it on a Fantastic Four fan page. And I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. Where can I get one of those? He says, well, he works for a marine company that makes seating for boats and stuff. And they made this. There was a comic book theme at this boat show. So they created this thing for that. And a couple months later, he posts and says, I'm moving. I need to downsize. I'm getting rid of this chair. Does anybody want it? I said, fuck yeah, I want it.
I love how the seat cushion is the same color as the trunks.
Yep.
Yeah, and it has the black band,
line
too.
back there that's like a
Yeah,
belt,
it's
right?
got the belt back here too.
That's so funny.
And this opens up because it's made for from a boat company. The seat opens up and there's a cooler down below.
Oh, nice.
That chair is the direct result of the Thing's battle with the Molecule Man.
Mhm.
That's right. That's exactly right.
He just snapped his fingers, and that's Ben Grimm.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh,
Fun stuff.
all right. Well,
So- oh, what do we got next week, guys? Let me see. We have
Ron's going to make sure he watches it this time.
Return of the Archon.
No, I'm not. I'm deliberately not watching them.
Landrew next week.
Yes, Landry.
Landrew, Return of the Archon.
Are
Body?
you not of the body?
Are you of the body?
I am Landrew. He's
I
got
think
that
that's one of the first
head
ones
that's
I
like
ever
this
saw.
triangle-shaped head, like an
Landry was also in Wolf in the Fold, right? Graham,
Yeah,
he was
he's
the
the-
prefect.
Oh yeah, he was. You're right.
Yeah.
Wow, I never
He's
picked up.
also in Blackula.
Scream!
Oh,
that's right,
yeah,
he's the
you're
vampire
right.
at the very
He
beginning.
plays Dracula. He's the guy who
That's-
bites Prince Mufani or whatever his name is. And turns him into
Mufasa.
Blackula.
He's the one who bites. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is craziness.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Another Star Trek connection because Blackula is Richard Daystrom. So
That's right.
Yeah,
so
right,
he was on
right.
Star Trek, right? So
I am great. You are great.
I'm great. You are great. We
Empire.
are great together. And I like how McCoy's like, he's having a breakdown, Jim.
Really?
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
think? I like when Kirk is trying to like manhandle him, getting his arms behind him, and William Marshall's like 6'4".
Yeah, he's like 10
5'5".
times Shatner's size. I know.
Shatner's like 5'7". He's like trying to get it's pretty funny. Oh man. Anyway, guys, we gotta let Anna get to bed. She's exhausted.
Yeah, you poor thing.
Yeah,
She's
bed
about-
at 6 p.m.
We look over.
The
She's
baby's
just
gonna start
passed out
kicking
on the
soon, so
microphone.
He has been. It's nonstop.
thank you everybody in the chat for tuning in. Hope to see you again next week. Also, pinned to the top of the chat is Aaron's sign up list for Wraith of God 3, which will be launching soon. So make sure you hit that link and go over there and sign up for it.
Thank you.
In the meantime, everybody decide if they're of the body this week.
That's right. And if you're not, be like Pedro Pascal and touch one.
That's
Oh
right.
my God.
And then we'll see you next week for Return of the Archons. Have a
Yeah.
great weekend.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.